Hey y'all, I had some pickups this week, so I want to use one of them to tell you a bit of a story. And then at the end, I'll share my biggest one, which gets me closer to a 40-year project I'm working on. So here we go. All right, so the first card I want to show you has a little very indirect tie back to my youth. As I may have mentioned in the past, I'm born and raised in Baltimore originally, though I've lived in Florida for 30 years. And I was a hardcore Orioles fan starting in the late 70s, probably 1978. And that 1979 through 1983 window with the Orioles was like a prime time. The Orioles were incredibly competitive, super fun team to watch. Great pitching, great hitting. Earl Weaver and his insanity. And so I'm going to share with you this program from 1978 of a game that I went to. And you can just tell it's from 1978 because it's only cost 50 cents. So in it, that one player that played for the Orioles back then, not super well known, had a 14-year career, was an outfielder named Pat Kelly. Pat Kelly was... So here's a picture of him. I don't have any Pat Kelly cards because I've done a lot of consolidating my collection, and frankly, Pat Kelly was never more than like a common player. So this is a program from 1978, and you'll see a reference to 1977 above. I would say Pat Kelly had a 4-year career with the Orioles, platoon hitting outfielder. Would steal 15 to 20 bases a year, hit anywhere from 250. I want to say 79 when the O's went to the series. He hit 288. After his 1980 season, he was, 35 years old, and then was a free agent, signed with the Indians, and at 36, the strike happened, and he retired, got out of baseball, moved back to the Baltimore area, was originally from Philadelphia, I think, but became a real big community, really tied to the community. Tragically passed away of a heart attack in 2005, I believe. Became born again Christian, was doing some preaching in 2005 at a church in a small town in Pennsylvania, had a heart attack. When he would play, announcers would just talk about his brother. And they said, oh yeah, his brother played football, and he played for the NFL, played for a team in the NFL, and one would think to themselves, oh, okay, that's cool, whatever. There's a lot of players out there that have family members that played sports. Obviously, Pat Kelly had to have been like the most successful athlete. I mean, the guy had a serviceable 14-year career in Major League Baseball. Well, the NFL clearly did not have the level of prominence that it does today. But his brother, as I move this, from that era, or that was just referenced, is Leroy Kelly. Leroy Kelly, NFL Hall of Fame running back. Again, grew up in Philadelphia, went to Morgan State in Baltimore. Maybe that's why it resonated, because he actually went to college at Morgan State. Was an 8th round draft pick of the Cleveland Browns, and had the unenviable task of having to follow up Jim Brown as the running back for the Browns. And led the NFL in rushing a handful of years, and I believe he was inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame in 1994. So, you learn more about football, and you find out that, oh yeah, that guy who you followed pretty tightly when your favorite team was, actually had a brother that was a pretty good athlete. This is his rookie card here. I was able to pick it up raw, 67 Philadelphia football. Centering's never easy, but this is not as poorly centered as the other. And I'm trying to put together this Hall of Fame run, and perfectly happy with raw for this card. These 67 Philadelphias have these brown backs. It does talk about how he broke loose in the NFL, was second in the NFL in rushing. in 66, and he averaged 5.5 yards per carry. He also could catch the ball as well. He was a big return guy as well. So happy with this pickup. I feel like I got a nice deal. Even raw, this card is, $50 probably. I want to say I got this in the mid-20s through eBay. Same purchase. Again, being from Baltimore, I'm trying to put together these Colts. I was able to pick up this Philadelphia Johnny Unitas, same year, 1967. Again, centering can be a challenge. When I was trying to buy the Unitases, I was thinking, for all the Colts I'm going to buy, I want to try to buy the Unitases at least in near mint and preferably graded if I could find them. And these are not hard to come by. The 66 Philadelphia Unitas is out there, and it's weirdly more expensive graded. An equivalent grade of like a 64 Philadelphia relative to a 66 Philadelphia. You could pick up a 64 Philadelphia and a 7 or 8 for a third of the price sometimes of what a 66 would be. 67, not as expensive as a 66, but this was super, super clean. I think I'm just going to go get a one touch from, our friends at the Penny Sleever or Mag Pro, Promote, whomever it might be. But again, really, really clean. I saw this and I said, you know what? I don't even need to chase a 7. If this isn't a 7, I'll eat my shoe. But then again, knowing what PSA is doing, maybe I need to start with the microwave here, but I thought this was super clean. A couple more pickups. I was in the Strongsville video, I shared I was trying to do the NBA Rookie Hall of Fame, and I made a lot of headway on the 69 tops. I picked up raw this John Havlicek. Let me zoom out a bit because these are Tallboys. So I was able to pick up this John Havlicek raw along with Bill Bradley and Willis Reed. This is not a New York Knicks, celebratory sort of this is not a New York Knicks celebratory sort of video. Not necessarily a Knicks fan, though I was unlucky enough to be on a flight during OG Anunoby's, tip of the century, I'd say. But really stoked with this. Again, these are not super difficult to come by. And you can find these raw or graded everywhere. I'm perfectly happy with these raw. The last card I need from this 69-70 set is the Kareem Alcindor card. We'll likely get that graded, but this finishes off 69-70. Sorry about the glare for me, but for the Kareem. So stoked. Last pickup is the big one. And I picked this up at a local card show, driving over to Fort Lauderdale, running some errands, which is a 2-hour drive for me. And, I was traveling with my wife, and I said, you know what? I know there's a card show going on. Let's stick my head in. I had zero expectations of what I would find there because a lot of card shows, and this Fort Lauderdale card show is the one, if you watch Orlando's videos, he generally does videos of on a monthly basis. He was not able to go to the show he was not able to go to that show this last week, but I was able to get my hands on this 1956 Willie Mays Grayback. I saw this card. I want to say I paid probably 10% over comps for this, but I'm down to just needing 3 cards in the set. I picked up the Ted Williams a while back. At Strongsville, I picked up the Koufax, the Mays, the Clemente, and the Mantle were the last 3 I needed. I saw this. My goal was to try to get really nicely bang for the buck, eye appeal for the grade cards. in that hopefully minimum 5 range. I mean, if I find like a 3 or 4 that just looks phenomenal, I'd buy it. But I saw this and I just thought the centering on it was ridiculous. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here. I look at this card and I want to say I got this, I paid 10% over comps. It was listed for probably another 10% higher than I got it. And I knew just looking at the card, even though it doesn't have a sticker on it, sort of a dealer who's, John Bucci is the dealer. So if you've seen Orlando's videos, he's talked about him in the past. I knew there wasn't much room on the downside, knowing the attributes of this. You know, what's phenomenal for me is this rough cut along the top here is, I just love it. And the centering is, I don't know how I beat the centering. I don't know if this is perfect centering. I haven't taken a picture of the card and like run it through one of those centering apps where you sort of line it up and it'll tell you what percentage it is if it's 52-48. But I don't know if I could even find anything this well centered. I mean, yeah, I could probably go a grade up, but 6 is one of those grades of 1956s. You know, once you get above a 6, if I were to take a leap to a 7 in this card, it's probably another 60, it's like a 60 to 75% increase in price. Yet a 5 to a 6 is maybe only like a 20% increase in price, obviously taking eye appeal into it. So this sweet spot right here of just what feels like to me, just a top shelf eye appeal card, centering, love this rough cut, love the rough cut. At a 6, I couldn't beat it. And I knew I was, you know, if I'm going to buy a maze for my set, this is going to be it. Just to show the back here. I mean, this card is by no means perfect. There's what I would call very light touches on the corners, I would say, but not super noticeable in the grand scheme of things. And frankly, the centering versus the corners, I mean, give me this centering all day from an eye appeal standpoint. So just for me, a monster pickup, and down to needing just 3 cards. And who knows, maybe over the next week or 2, you'll see another video of me sharing another card. I was down to 3 cards, now I'm down to 2, just the Clemente and the Mantle. Now, who knows, and you may see another video from me. Maybe I'm getting to 1 card in the near future. But just wanted to share this. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Talk soon. Bye-bye.